And happy Friday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane. It's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractors Show, as well as Atlas Roofing. Thank you guys for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. We do have a quiet day expected for today, so no severe weather is anticipated. But then as we get into tomorrow, we do have an area that we'll be watching for some marginally severe weather down in Arkansas, as well as parts of western Tennessee and northwestern Mississippi. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail as well. And then the tropics, we are heating up. We have a few new depressions, including one that we are watching very closely, potentially heading towards the U.S. in the next 5 to 7 days. So we'll talk about all of the tropical stuff as well. But before we get into our forecast, we do have a few events. The first one is tomorrow down in Norman, Oklahoma at OU, where, if you guys don't know, we do tailgate at all of the home University of Oklahoma games. Tomorrow we will be going against Kansas State. The tailgate begins at 3 p.m. and the game starts at 7. So we have free food, free beer. We have televisions that will be showing the game as well. So it's always a fun time. So come on down and watch the game with us. And then as we get into next week, we have another event down in Fort Worth from the 27th through the 29th. This is the RCAT MRCA Roofing Conference at the Fort Worth Convention Center. So if you guys are going to that conference, Hail Trace will be there, so come on by and say hi to us there. So here are yesterday's storm reports. We didn't really have a whole lot in terms of severe weather. We had a few reports up here from, we got a wind report as well as a land spout, and then we had some hail in Montana, although all of that was below severe limits, so it was under an inch in diameter. So here are our current conditions across the United States. That cold front that was producing some severe weather, not yesterday, but the few days before, that is off into the Atlantic, just bringing some rain out into Canada. We have another low pressure system that was in Montana moving on to the east. It's situated in northern North Dakota. That's not expected to be producing any severe weather today, just some showers and a few non-severe thunderstorms possible from Minnesota down into Iowa and into Missouri. Elsewhere, we are pretty quiet with high pressure being in control in the eastern part of the U.S., and the western part of the U.S. looks pretty quiet as well. And we're just going to zoom on in here again. Nothing severe with this low pressure system is expected today. It's actually pretty on the cooler side, and we just don't have that instability. But some rain is falling out there in those regions. So taking a look at our temperatures, pretty cool out there right now. It's only 54 in Minneapolis. We have 60 in Fort Wayne, 57 in Kansas City. You get south of that cold front though, and temperatures are a bit warmer, where it's 73 in Atlanta and 87 down in Dallas, 94 in Houston. So we're going to once again start to warm up here in the central and southern plains. You can see those temperatures are already starting to increase there. And speaking of those cooler temperatures, here are the changes of the temperature within the last 24 hours. You can see a lot cooler compared to this time yesterday in the northeast down into the southeast, anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees cooler actually. Then you can see we are starting to warm up here again in the central and southern plains, where temperatures unfortunately are going to rebound back into the 90s for the next few days. And here are our dew points, very comfortable across most of the U.S. with dew points anywhere from the upper 30s to even the upper 40s here. Very comfortable. Really the only places that are a little bit uncomfortable are Florida. So we have a 70-degree dew point down in Miami and 72 in New Orleans. So the more uncomfortable air is down in the Gulf Coast states. So, like I said at the beginning, we are not expecting anything in terms of severe weather today. No hail, no wind. Is going to be a pretty quiet day. But getting into tomorrow, we will be watching for the potential severe weather down in parts of Arkansas and Louisiana, up into Mississippi and Tennessee. So we'll wake up tomorrow morning. There'll be some showers around, nothing severe. But then as we get into later on in the afternoon, you can see a few storms trying to fire up just to the west of Memphis. And then getting into later on in the evening, you can see some more storms trying to fire up here from Memphis down to the Little Rock area, southeast to parts of northwestern Mississippi. And then that activity will move off to the southeast in the overnight hours. And we can see some more showers as we wake up on Sunday. So for tomorrow, we're not expecting anything in terms of severe hail, but there is the potential to see some very spotty wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So let's just zoom on in here. Memphis, Little Rock, you guys have the best chances. Just looking at those radar models, the storms that will develop are going to be very spotty in nature, but again, up to 60-mile-per-hour gusts are possible with the strongest storms tomorrow. Now here is our future jet stream. We saw that cold front is now out in the Atlantic. Some cooler air is now here in the northeast. Here's this other trough that is now in the northern plains. So some more cooler weather is associated with that. And then getting into tomorrow, some more cool weather will be coming down from Canada as that trough starts to dig down to the south. And getting into our weekend, really this trough is not really going to be going anywhere. It's just going to continue to dig a little bit to the south, bringing some cooler air with it. You can see as we get into Sunday and then into the beginning of next week, those colors aren't as red. So we'll be experiencing a little bit of relief from that heat as we get into the beginning of next week here in the southern plains. And again, getting into Tuesday, that trough is just stuck there. So a little bit of relief going on here from any of that heat is ongoing in the northeast and will continue to go to the south as we get into the beginning of next week. So now let's get into the tropics. It's very busy right now. The first thing is Fiona. She is continuing to move off to the northeast in the Atlantic. The outer bands just passed Bermuda this morning, and right now she's just in open Atlantic oceans. And as we get into the next few days, Fiona is expected to continue on to the north and then hit parts of Nova Scotia, and then getting into the end of our weekend and into the beginning of next week, she will once again get into parts of the northern Atlantic. So there's that one. And now here is Gaston. You can see also that in the Atlantic, not really affecting a whole lot of people and spinning around here. And as we look at his track, he's just going to be doing a very slow turn to the west and just weaken and just hang out there for a bit. So he's not going to be affecting any land either. Now, here is Tropical Depression 9. This is the one that we're going to be watching very carefully as we get into the next 5 to 7 days or so. Again, it's just a tropical depression right now in the Caribbean, and it's going to be making its way on to the west. Now, where is this one going to be going? Well, later on this evening, it is expected to become a tropical storm. We are expecting it to be Hermine. It's either going to be that or Ian, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But it will become a tropical storm, and then getting into tomorrow morning, continue on to the west, and then we'll start to make a little bit of a northwestern turn as we get into Sunday morning. And then getting into our Monday, it will be heading towards Cuba, cross Cuba, get into the Gulf. And this is where you can see the cone here is becoming a little bit uncertain. It's a very wide cone, but it will enter the Gulf. And then, we're still 5 to 7 days out, you guys. A lot of things can change, but the National Hurricane Center does have this storm hitting western Florida by next week. So again, we're really far out. This track will most likely change in some shape or form, as well as how strong this system will be. So just keep that in mind. So here are the models where they're thinking this storm will be going. Again, they have a pretty good agreement that it's going to continue off to the west-northwest, entering parts of the Caribbean and then entering the Gulf. But there may be a little bit of uncertainty as to where in the Gulf this storm will be heading. But right now it looks like there is some agreement that it will be heading towards Florida. But again, a lot of things can change. So we just got to take it day by day and see where this storm goes. And you can see after we get through like Wednesday, it just kind of goes all over the place. So again, a lot of things will be changing. Stay tuned to Hail Trace for updated information on that storm. Now we got Tropical Depression 10, which is off the coast of Africa. Again, it's just a tropical depression right now, but it's expected to become a tropical storm later on this evening. So it's going to, that's why I stated that Tropical Depression 9, maybe Hermine or maybe Ian's going to be basically a time crunch between that storm and this one on which one's going to be named first. But this one will basically head on to the north as we get into tomorrow and into Sunday and then Monday and all that fun stuff. It's not expected to be hitting any land. Really the major concern right now is that Tropical Depression 9. And then lastly, we do have another area that we'll be watching for future development. We have a 30% chance within the next 2 days and then a 20% within the next 5. So a low end chance that this will also become a named system, but it's not zero. So we'll be watching this one as well. And then just a recap of our names. The next one will be Hermine and then Ian. We will most likely have 2 named storms today, but the question is which one will be named what? So the game on for those 2 storms to see who can get named first. But then after those 2, it'll be Julia and then Carl, and then you can see the other names here for the rest of the alphabet for those Atlantic storms. So I know it's a mouthful. The tropics are heating up. You don't want to miss anything. So if you haven't already followed us, please do so on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, as well as join our TikTok page where we've been trying to create some fun content for you guys. And then if you have any questions, concerns, if you just want to say hi, you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com and then check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. We'll keep you updated, you guys, for any future developments, especially here in the tropics. But for now, my name is meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend.